Hello, everyone. My name is Halil Burak Sakal. I am the director of the Social and Strategic Research Center at Cappadocia University, and I work extensively on sustainable tourism, destination management, and the application of global sustainability standards in tourism policy and practice. Today, it's my great pleasure to welcome Mr. C.B. Ramkumar. Mr. Ramkumar is the vice chair of the Global Sustainable Tourism Council, which is one of the most influential global organizations setting sustainability standards for tourism destinations and businesses worldwide. He is also the founder of Hotel BFF, a pioneering initiative that helps hospitality businesses to move beyond compliance and focusing on sustainability, providing practical tools, benchmarking, and mentoring tools for small and medium-sized hotels and tourism enterprises. And also, he brings experience to this conversation as well. He has been running a resort in India for many years, giving him the first-hand insight into the operational, financial, and environmental realities faced by hospitality businesses on the ground. So it's a real honor to have you with us, Mr. Ramkumar. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So my first question, from your global perspective, why has environmental management become a core business issue for tourism enterprises rather than a voluntary or nice-to-have practice?
Environmental management is something that is easy to understand as far as hotels are concerned. And there is just so much of buzz around environmental management all around the world. Anywhere in the world you go, everybody is talking about the environment. Of course, it's thanks to efforts by a lot of civil society groups, the climate change movement. There is an increasing understanding that we have neglected it for far too long. So environmental management is what comes to mind first for everybody, the hospitality industry included, especially the small and medium industry. So for them, environmental management comes on first. So you'll see small hotels talking about small aspects of environmental management quite often. They understand it well. They understand some of the basics, some elements of it. We shouldn't use too much of single-use plastic. We shouldn't waste water, stuff like that. So it's easy to understand for the small and medium hotels. It is something that everybody is talking about. So it becomes a comfortable topic for the small and medium industry, for the hotels specifically. So for them, if they at least address the environmental management issues to a large extent, they tell themselves that it supports their core business, or so they think. I mean, I say so they think because if you actually ask them, how does it support? Lots of them will struggle to answer the question. Though there are answers, but they will struggle to answer the question. So everybody's jumped on the bandwagon of environmental management. And so much so that today, if you talk about environmental management as a tourism enterprise, it is seen like a brownie point. You get a star, on your chest if you talk about environmental management. Conversely, if you don't talk about it, will people frown? Will people ask, why aren't you doing anything? Perhaps not yet, because visitors to tourism enterprises, not all of them are as aware as we want them to be. But if you talk about environmental management, like I said, it's a brownie point for you. You're doing something different. And all that supports the brand, and it supports your business model. It supports your core business issues as a tourism enterprise. And for me, that is one of the big reasons why environmental management has become a core business issue as far as tourism enterprises are concerned.
Yeah. And Also, I want to bring the issue from like awareness to a systematic certification or systems thinking, right? So today, many small and medium enterprises are aware of sustainability, but they may somehow struggle with implementation. What are the most common gaps you see between their intentions and effective management systems? What are their main problems?
Yeah, you're right. Many of them are aware of sustainability as a word, as a concept, uh, but they struggle because still, for a lot of them, sustainability means environmental management only, which is true, but it is not only environmental management, right? So, this gap of understanding between what is sustainability as defined by the United Nations system, by the climate change sort of accords, and what is it that their understanding is is the first gap, in my opinion. Uh, the second gap is you're right, lots of them have good intentions. Universally, if you ask anybody in the tourism industry, are you concerned about sustainability? Are you doing something? Would you want to do something? I can almost guarantee you the answer will be 100% because it is not in good order to say, I don't know about sustainability. I don't care about the environment. You can't say that anymore. Even though it may be the truth that, lots of businesses honestly don't care and they're not aware of it. But for them to actually say it and admit it, will be a challenge. So the gap is first, in my opinion, understanding of what true sustainability is all about. Environmental management is very, very important in sustainability, but there are other aspects of sustainability, social sustainability, cultural sustainability, management sustainability, the physical running, the financial stability of your business. If your business is not financially sustainable, none of the others matter, right? You might be fantastic from a social, cultural, environmental sustainability, but if your business is struggling, you will shut down, which means jobs will be lost and you will close your resort down. So financial sustainability is important also, right? So this is the first gap, in my opinion, the lack of understanding between overall sustainability and the narrowness with which people sort of look at it. The second thing is, yes, there are good intentions, but it doesn't get translated. And the main reason there is because, again, people are not aware of how to translate it. I want to be sustainable. Um, I am I am quite keen about sustainability. I understand it to some extent. Okay, so what do I do now? So a lot of people turn around and say, okay, I'm doing a lot. And you ask them what it is, they'll give you the common stuff, the low-hanging fruit, as I call them, you know, in terms of single-use plastic or water saving or waste management, which is great. But then if you tell them, no, there is so much more you need to do, then they ask you, okay, now where do I start? How do I do it? I'm willing, I want to, but I don't know how to go about it. So that is another huge gap, you know, between good intentions and effective execution of environmental management. So two things, like I said, one of them is awareness of sustainability as a whole, and secondly, the fact that they don't know where to start, they don't know how to start. So that's another huge gap also.
Yeah, thank you. So you mentioned about cultural sustainability, social sustainability, right? So these are the pillars, main pillars of the GSTC standards, the GSTC criteria. Uh, how do you think the GSTC criteria translate environmental management into practical action for tourism businesses, especially, for example, energy saving, water saving, and waste management?
Yeah. So the GSTC criteria, the GSTC standards, um, they have been developed and designed to be practical. The standards were not developed for consultants or academicians or for the academic industry to look at and write papers about. They were written for the hotels to actually follow them. So while we use the word criteria or standards, basically what is it? It is a checklist. It's telling hotels are all used to working with checklists. That's how you run a hotel on an everyday basis. You have checklists for all that needs to be done. Following that same logic, the GCC criteria really is just a checklist. If a hotel just goes, line by line through each of the criteria, they will realize that, oh, okay, this is simplified. This seems practical. But of course, the challenge is to get them to even go through that, right? That is the challenge. I'm not saying no. But for me, the criteria when it comes to energy, water, waste management, for all of them, it is about just reading what the criteria is, and you'll realize that it relates to the operations of a hotel. Now, if one thing the hoteliers are experts on, whatever size of hotels and the SME, they are experts in the operations of their own hotel, right? Because they do it every day after day, years. They understand their operations completely. What the criteria does is when they read it, they will realize it relates directly to the operations. So when you talk to them about issues that relates directly to the operations, it resonates. People read it and say, oh, this is not so complicated. I thought it was complicated, but this is very practical, right? So the design of the criteria was done in a way where it is meant to be practically applied. So it was written for hoteliers, for accommodations. Like I said at the beginning, it was not written for consultants or academicians or governments. It was written for the hotels to follow. And remember, when the criteria was developed, GSTC went through an extensive, consultative process, public consultation, where thousands of people inputted into it, including hoteliers, right? So the whole thing is simple enough and practical enough for hotels to follow. And that is the beauty about the criteria.
Yeah, thank you very much. So this brings us to another aspect, another dimension, right? So many tourism businesses often say, okay, we are very keen on sustainability, but we don't have enough budget or enough staff for this. From your experience, your own experience, what are the realistic steps that any SME can take to start managing its environmental impact?
Yeah, you're right. This is a common question that I also, encounter when I do my training programs and consultations. We don't have the budget and the staff to do this. And the first thing I tell hoteliers when they tell me that is what makes you think you need a huge budget to become sustainable? And immediately the answer is, oh, but hang on, I thought I should put solar panels or windmills. No, that's what I'm supposed to do. So this is where they make the mistake. Sustainability is not, and especially environmental sustainability is not about making huge investments. So one of the things, when it comes to energy management, for example, if I tell a hotelier what do they need to do, the first thing I tell them is start to measure your energy consumption, measure your water consumption, measure your waste that you generate. What happens when you start to measure is when, for the first time, you'll start to become aware of a metric. Otherwise, what happens in a hotel is you're most worried about and you focus on, guest experience, meet and greet, their food, the hospitality, their experience. Very rarely does a hotel contemplate and go to the back of the house and look at energy consumption or water consumption or waste management, right? It doesn't occupy their mind because once electricity connection is there or if there's a diesel generator, you don't think about it after that. But now we're telling them start to measure. If you have a slightly bigger place, it was like, say, 20, 30 room place, start to do a decentralized measure of your energy. In the kitchen, put an energy meter in the kitchen. Now, the energy meters don't cost too much money, right? And you have to just get an electrician and tell them, I want an energy meter in the kitchen for me to see how much energy is my kitchen consuming. How much energy is my restaurant consuming? How much energy the common areas consuming? So I would always say that measure the amount of energy you sort of consume on a month to month basis because you will naturally start to correlate that. If you tell yourself, month one, I consumed 100 units of electricity and my occupancy was 50%. Month two, I consumed 200 units of electricity and my occupancy was 70%. But hang on, from audio occupancy from 40 to 70, your energy consumption cannot double, right? These are questions the hotelier will start asking themselves once they measure. Same thing with water, same thing with waste. Once you start measuring the waste, food waste, for example, waste that comes off the buffet and vegetable waste that comes during the cooking process, you start to realize, okay, I had 30 guests and I have 5 kilograms of waste. Next day, you have 20 guests and I have 10 kilograms of waste. Why? How? These questions you will start to ask only if you measure. And I always say, what you measure, you treasure what you measure. It's common in life, right? The moment you start taking your weight every week, you will start to treasure that. You say, oh my God, I want to do better. I want to reduce my weight or I want to increase my weight. But you'll only know that if you measure it. If you don't measure it, how will you know? So in terms of practical steps, I tell hotels, first thing you do is just start to measure. Measure your energy consumption, your waste generation, and your water consumption. And measure this, if possible, in a decentralized manner. For energy, I mentioned it. For water also, if you have a swimming pool, see how much water is evaporating from the swimming pool every day. See how much water is being consumed by your common toilets. If in the common toilets you realize that the water consumption is going up, you will come up with solutions yourself. You don't need any consultant or anybody. So, in terms of practical steps, I will say first measure. And that itself will result in you moving towards sustainability. Of course, there are 100 other steps you can take, but I'll say if you were looking for one or two steps, I would first say measure, and that should take care of a lot of things.
Yeah, then you say it's part of the sustainability. Sustainability management is part of everyday management. So the hoteliers do every day. So then there are many sustainability indicators besides energy, water, and for example, social indicators, or also greenhouse gas indicators. What do you think about them? For example, greenhouse gas indicators. Which ones are more influential, which have less impact on sustainability? What do you think?
Yeah. So with the small and medium hotels, I always say, depending on who the hotel is, you need to either start with baby steps, and once you take the baby steps, you can get them to run a marathon. In the sense, getting them just to become aware of environmental issues, social issues, cultural issues are the baby steps. And once they're able to do that, then yes, they are ready to receive other information like greenhouse gases. Again, in all the training programs I've done, I've asked hoteliers, and these are large hotels also, yeah, who are supposed to be more aware. Do you know what greenhouse gases are? Invariably, they say, yeah, yeah, climate change. I said, okay, climate change. What is a greenhouse gas? You have blank faces. They say, can you list out the greenhouse gases? There are blank faces. Why? Because when you go to hotel management school, If you're a big hotel, if you're a small hotel, you just started, you don't learn about greenhouse gas emissions. You don't learn about climate change. You don't learn about the environmental issues. So awareness of issues like greenhouse gas is very, very low, in my opinion, in the hospitality industry in general, and for the SMEs also, because it is not something that happens to you or affects your life today in the operations that you run today. There is no impact of it. They're not able to see it. Okay, when there is, God forbid, if there is a landslide because of excessive rain, or if there's a forest fire because of excessive heat, or if there is, a torrential rain burst in a place, we all know that these incidents are increasing in frequency, in the world because of climate change issues. But it is only at that time that somebody will say, oh my God, there's too much rain. Oh my God, there's a forest fire, or there's a drought. How many of them then translate that to say, this is because of climate change? Therefore, I want to be more aware. I want to see how much of greenhouse gases I am contributing. That is still a distance away for hoteliers to sort of look at, to follow, to understand. So, greenhouse gases, we all know, are a critical aspect of existence in our lifetime now. It's not something that's going to affect the world later. It's affecting the world today as we speak. But getting hoteliers to look at that in the first stage is a challenge. And if they take the baby steps, I'd be happy. If they understand greenhouse gases, I'll be thrilled.
Yeah, so everything seems very much technical, right? So, how technical, for example, is then the sustainability certification? I mean, Global Sustainable Tourism Council, hotels can get Global Sustainable Tourism Council certified, or they can certify against other recognized standards, EU Ecolabel, ISO. They are often seen very technical and labels, right? So, how can they be really integrated into the daily management frameworks or operations?
Yeah, you're right. It is technical. And that is why it is a challenge. It's a challenge of perception, of course. It's not a challenge of reality, but it's a challenge of perception. Why is it a challenge? See, if you go back and look at the hospitality business, it's a pretty simple business. It's a business that every human being is familiar with. What I mean is, you know, every other day you will have friends coming to your home or family coming to your home. You meet them, you greet them, you sit down, you have a good time, you have some conversations, you cook food for them. They might stay over and use one of your rooms to stay overnight. They might use your toilets. And then eventually they will say, oh, thank you so much. They'll give you a hug and they will depart, right? That is a common human practice. So the hospitality industry just mirrors this at a bigger scale. Instead of just at 1 or 2 bedrooms in your house, you probably now have 10 or 20 bedrooms. So the business is a familiar business. The business model is a familiar business model. It is not something that you don't know. It is familiar. It is not like building a satellite to send to space. Oh my God, now that is something completely different, right? Or it's not like having to perform brain surgery. Whoa, okay, that's completely different. Hospitality is a simple industry. Now, in the simplicity, now comes the world of certifications, standards, compliance. You throw that in, this simple mindset of a hospitality owner, suddenly he says, whoa, now this is complicated. You're talking about standards that I have to follow. You're talking about changes in my standard operating procedure. You're talking about audit. You're talking about inspections. You're talking about certification. The moment you put all this in their mind, there, that simple business suddenly becomes complicated. But we all know that it only seems complicated. That's why I said there is a perception of complexity. I've had many small, medium hotels start off by saying, no, 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 this is too complicated for me. I am not built for this. Probably it's for a big hotel, not for me. I'm a small hotel. Me and my wife run a 5 room, 6 room hotels, too complicated. And I tell them, okay, why don't we just sit down, humor me? Let's just go through one by one the GSTC criteria. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see how complicated it is. And invariably at the end of it, they say, oh, you know what? It's actually not so complicated, right? So there is a perception of complexity when it comes to certification and labels and all of that. Well, in reality, it is simple. Well, I'm not trying to sort of make it so simple to say that, I always say, it's complicated, it's not complex in the sense that, yes, now there is a new thing you need to do, standards and whatever else. Um, but the fact remains that we are asking for all this now because humanity has gone too far down the road of what we call progress, and we are trying to all pedal backwards now, right? To become sustainable. If you look at sustainability, what is it? It's respecting nature, it's respecting your neighbors, it's respecting your culture, which is what all our ancestors used to do those days in the villages that we all lived in, right? We've forgotten that. So sustainability is all about going back to the basics. And when you have to go back, because we've gone so far down the road, what we call progress, now it all seems complex and complicated. But in actuality, it is pretty simple, in my opinion.
So it seems that complex because hoteliers and people perceive it complex, right? But fortunately, there are tools out there to help hoteliers, right? I'm
Hmm.
asking this because we know that you have very recently initiated an innovative platform to support businesses in their sustainability journeys with Hotel BFF. Platforms like Hotel BFF or training can aim businesses to simplify sustainability implementation. So how do they help? How do digital tools or data platforms or online trainings, online mentorship programs change the way the environmental management sustainability is implemented and monitored?
Yeah. See, when I started my resort, it's almost 20 years ago, called Our Native Village. Um, I was passionate about sustainability. It was I was doing an experiment actually because I wanted to build a model for sustainable living because I had seen what they call man-made aspects of poverty generation because we lost our respect for the environment and all of that, amongst farmers here in India. So I decided I wanted to build a model for sustainable living, and I chose the resort as a staging ground. I don't come from the standard hospitality business. I am not a qualified hotel management professional or anything like that, right? I wandered into the space of sustainability because I wanted to build a model. So after I built my resort, which is a 100% eco resort, this is 20 years ago when the word sustainability didn't exist, right? But strangely, intuitively, I followed strangely all the GSCC criteria just intuitively. Um, I have constantly had hoteliers who come to my place ask me, "Oh, now that you've done it, can you help us, with our hotel also?" It's over the last 20 years, I can't tell you how many times people have asked me that question. So, I mean, and I wasn't really insulted in going and consulting for one of them, earning some money. That is not something which is up my street. So I said, okay, let me spread the knowledge to everybody. So I wrote a book, right? I wrote a book in which I described everything that I did on my resort, all the things that went right, all the mistakes that I made, everything. It was a tell-all book. It was almost like a guide to sustainability, right? And I published that book, and I said, okay, now I published a book. I've told the world what it is. But I still had people coming and asking me questions because, people are lazy to read. Today we live in the world of Twitter and Facebook Shorts and YouTube Shorts. My attention span is 30 seconds, 45 seconds. Telling you to read a 120-page book is a bit of a challenge, right? So when I still started getting these questions and the digital world was beginning to build, is when I said, okay, I need to get to be even more practical. And that's how I started to conceive Hotel BFF. I wrote the first concept note almost 8 years ago. Now, Hotel BFF is all about helping small and medium hotels specifically. Of course, it'll help large hotels also. It for helping small and medium hotels start their journey into sustainability and get themselves ready for certification. Now, why small and medium hotels? I chose specifically because the large hotels can hire consultants, right? They can afford to hire big consultants, pay them, I don't know, thousands of dollars. But small and medium hotels don't have the resources, they don't have the time, they don't have the wherewithal. They're busy running their business. In between all that, we are complicating their life and telling them become sustainable. So I said that if we truly want them to take the journey into sustainability, we have to handhold them, we have to spoon feed them, we have to be gentle, we have to be patient, and we have to slowly but surely help them move towards sustainability. So it was this overall sentiment, emotional sentiment that we put into and built into Hotel BFF, where it's a step by step guide for any small and medium hotel or any hotel for that matter to slowly go. And it gives you what we've done is, again, because like you rightly said at the beginning also, because I run a hotel myself and I understand the operational complexity. I understand the complexity of hotels' everyday lives. We are chasing our tail, guest issues, guest complaints, attrition of staff, and there are a million issues that hits a hotel. In between all this, how do I then move towards sustainability? That is what Hotel BFF was trying to address. So that at one's own pace, it's a self-paced way, slowly but surely you understand it, step by step, and you take your time. For example, the self-evaluation, which you can finish in 20 minutes. We've told people, no, take 1 month and finish it. But invariably, they finish it in 20 minutes and they call us and say, okay, I finished it. I want to move to the next step. You know what I mean? So, but we have given people time, the training we've given them, say a month, 1 month, 2 months. It's a self-paced training so that you understand practical aspects of how we implement. In the training programs, I have given examples of how I have done it myself on my own resort. So these are not just case studies from anywhere in the world that consultants pick up. This is my own actual knowledge of implementation. So we built all that into Hotel BFF to ensure that it is simple enough and easy to follow. Because net, what do we want? We want the hotel to become sustainable. That is all the ultimate objectives, right? So in fact, structurally, Hotel BFF, while it is a for-profit entity, it is actually a social enterprise. So we describe ourselves as a for-profit social enterprise because we want impact. That is the first thing, we want impact as far as the planet is concerned.
So yeah, thank you for helping the small hotels, especially because they always ask for some help, for some guidance, mentorship, and so on. Uh, but can you also give some details on Hotel BFF? You describe it as a journey, right? So why is it a journey? How does it start? Is it that simple for a hotelier to use it? And what will the hotelier, for example, achieve? Will it be the more sustainable or get certified, get trained, or get its departments trained? What will they achieve?
Yeah. So yeah, it is a very, very simple tool. It was designed keeping in mind not just the digital technology aspects, but adoption aspects, in the sense that there's no point with any software if people don't adopt it and use it, right? So the focus has been adoption and usage. So we have a whole team that works on that. So you're right, it is a journey because for me, also when I started my resort and ran it, sustainability was a journey. You have to start somewhere and you start the journey and you get on that journey. People ask me, so what's the end step? I always say one of the end steps, if you want, is certification. Another end step is for you to become completely sustainable. Another end step is there is no end. It's a journey. Like if you ask yourself, what is the, is life a journey? We always say life is a continuing journey. Similarly, in Hotel BFF for hotels, it is a continuing journey into sustainability. But for easy consumption, we've broken it down into 5 steps. The first step is to do a self-evaluation, where a hotel starts to understand where are they today. It's just a set of simple questions that we ask them about their operations, and they will get a very quick insight as to where they are today. What are the gaps, if any? What all have they already achieved? So that is the first step, self-evaluation. The second step after that is for them to get themselves trained. Now, I do a lot of training programs for hotels, for governments, for everybody with GSTC. I'm a certified trainer there. In all my training programs for hotels that I've done, I've realized that you have 1 or 2 people from a hotel who come and attend the training program. And we expect that 1 or 2 people to go back to the hotel and train everybody in the hotel. Now, we know it's not going to happen. And I've done enough research, anecdotal research, to figure out it's not happening. So what we did in the training programs, the training modules of Hotel BFF is we broke it down by department. A chef needs to understand sustainability when it comes to his kitchen operations. He doesn't need to understand sustainability from the environmental aspects of the garden and if there are endemic species or invasive species in their landscaping, right? The people in housekeeping need to understand sustainability from a housekeeping perspective in terms of cleaning agents, the SOPs when it comes to environmental cleaning. Don't need to understand aspects of food waste, right? So we broke it down so it's becoming easy to consume for a hotel. The manager goes through the program and each of the departments understand it themselves, and it's all just about 60 minutes and 90 minutes in total. So that's a training. And the third part of it is once they've understood the gaps in the self evaluation and they fill the gaps with knowledge in the training, we take them to a marketplace. Now, in the training, we tell people, you should become sustainable as soon as possible. For example, to reduce water consumption, you can use water saving shower heads. For a small medium hotel, where am I going to find water saving shower heads? So in the marketplace, they'll be able to find suppliers in their country who supply water saving shower heads. If you want eco-friendly cleaning material, where am I going to go and find them? You'll have suppliers who'll give that. And then cultural aspects, where am I going to find a storyteller who will come and tell the story of that little region to my guests? Where am I going to find them? That is available. So the marketplace helps people practically become sustainable. So they've understood the gaps, they fill the gaps, now they become sustainable from an operations perspective. So that's a third step. And the fourth step is they then prepare themselves for certification. Now, first certification, a certification body will come and do an audit, right? But when the certification body comes to do the audit, and if you're not ready, your cost of audit increases because they will do the audit and they will say, listen, you're not fully prepared, but the certification body is going to charge you for the days they were there, right? So what we've done is we have a pre-audit module where the hotel does the pre-audit themselves. They can take 6 months, 7 months to do the pre-audit, but they do the pre-audit themselves. And thereby they will be able to almost halve the number of days of audit, final audit that happens, which means cost reduction. So that's the fourth step. And once they finish the audit, then they can call a certification body and they will see the pre-audit and the certification process becomes easy. And then from there on, they move towards, measuring their carbon and go to the next level. There are two other steps to measure their carbon and to come back and keep the sustainability journey alive. So we help them with a certified hotels club. So this is what I meant by saying step by step, slowly but surely, we help a hotel become sustainable using the tool that is Hotel BFF.
So you say audit, right? We have audit, and audit is the core of certification process. So we have hotels on the one hand, and on the other hand side, we have auditors, certification bodies, and also consultants for hotels. Uh, how do you then help with your tool to consultants or auditors, or what is one suggestion, for example, from your side to auditors or consultants or certification bodies in doing their audits? How can do this easily, or how can this tool, for example, help them in their businesses?
Yeah, so let me first talk about auditors and certification bodies, right? Now, because we've now been working with many of them, with in Hotel BFF. One of the big challenges that certification bodies have, that the auditors and certification bodies have, is they go for the audit and they realize, and the hotel realizes that the hotel is not ready. They're not fully compliant for all the criteria. So compliance for all the criteria is critical to become certified. Invariably, when the auditor goes in there, they spend 2, 3 days and then they tell the hotel, listen, you're 30%, 40% non-compliance, which means the hotel has to go back and do the homework again, get compliant, call the auditor back, and the auditor goes back and then he checks, there is still, say, 10, 20% non-compliance. So he tells them, fulfill that. The auditor leaves, he comes back. So you have 2, 3 visits of auditors. And this is all just preparing them for audit. Now, what happens as a result is the client, which is the hotel, when the auditor says, hey, listen, I've been here 7 days already. Each day I'm going to charge you, say, $500. So $3,500 and plus another 4 days for audit. The hotel turns around and says, but hang on, you're not doing audit then. You're only telling me what to do. Oh, don't tell me I have to pay for it. Conflict ensues. And auditors do not want to do training and consulting for the hotels because, first of all, it is not allowed. It's a conflict of interest. But secondly, that is not the core expertise of an auditor. Auditors and certification bodies see that time as wasted time and time which does not earn them the kind of revenue they should. So when we've been talking to certification bodies, this is the first thing they told us when they saw the Hotel BFF tool. They said, oh my God, this will make our life so much easier. Where the hotel does its own pre-audit and they get ready and then they call it, so that it's a more meaningful audit that we do. It's more productive. The cost will be much lesser. So auditors love our tool. Certification bodies love the Hotel BFF tool because they're saying this becomes easy for us. And then what we've discovered recently is some of the certification bodies are using Hotel BFF as a business development tool for themselves. Because lots of hotels come to them saying, we want to get certified. And the certification bodies tell them, go get ready and then call us. And there is a risk when they do that, that the hotel will go away to somebody else, right? So now the certification bodies are telling, hoteliers, okay, you want to be certified? Good. The first step for you is Hotel BFF. Do everything there. After you do that, the second step is coming to us as a certification body. So it's becoming a business development tool also for the certification bodies, which is great because at the end of the day, we want hotels to become sustainable and we want them certified, right? So that's from a certification body and auditor's perspective. The other question you asked me is from a consultant's perspective. Consultants also, we always say, oh, consultants are happy if they get more days of consulting, that clients pay for. Invariably, most consulting contracts are either monthly or, quarterly contracts. It's not by the number of hours that they spend, as much as consultants will say, 20 hours a month or whatever. Clients are demanding. And a consultant, for him to guide a hotel to become completely sustainable, get everybody aware internally, and move them towards it is a huge task. It's like pushing water uphill. So consultants have looked at our platform, Hotel PFF platform, and they said, you know what? We'll just tell hotels now, follow the platform. And the platform becomes like a template for the consultants in their dealings with their clients. So they tell the hotels, okay, first let's see where you are. Let's do the self-evaluation. Then the consultant says, you know what? You all need to understand sustainability, not just me as a consultant. So spend 1 hour in the next 1 month. And the hotel goes through that. And they say, oh, wow, thank you, Mr. Consultant. Such a good idea you gave us. So the consultant is doing well, right? And the consultant helps them through the marketplace and tells them, okay, let me help you do some shopping. And then they start the pre-audit. The consultant helps them do the pre-audit. So earlier, when a consultant used to handle probably one, two, three clients, at a time, suddenly I have consultants telling me, you know what? I can actually handle 10 clients because I have a platform on which to handle my clients. Earlier, everything was, phone calls and WhatsApp messages and emails, and you cannot deal with so many clients at one time. Now they're directing everybody to the platform, and the platform is the guideline and the template. So consultants are happy because now there is a template for them to follow, and there's a template for the hotels to follow. So it's more organized, it is more progressive, and you can see outcomes on a regular basis. So which is why we're starting to discover that consultants and certification bodies and auditors are beginning to love the tool because it's making their life easier. It's moving hotels towards becoming sustainable, and everybody's happy from a commercial perspective also.
Yeah, it's very impressive. So, as you said, everybody is happy, everybody is satisfied. Hotels are getting help, auditors are getting help, consultants are also benefiting from the system. So, thank you. This will be my final question. So, if you
Sorry, if I
could
can just
leave
add,
one,
if I if
sorry,
I can just add
please.
one point to what you just said, you hit upon a very critical point, you know, of everybody becoming happy. The Sustainable Development Goals number 17 talks about collaboration. The United Nations very clearly said everybody have to come together so that we all become sustainable easily. That is exactly what we followed at Hotel BFF. We want to work with consultants, we want to work with auditors, with certification bodies, with national tourism enterprises, governments, with online travel companies, with hoteliers, because we are very clear. If only all of us hold hands together and work together, will we all be able to move the needle towards sustainability. So you hit upon that critical point. So I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, this is very important to collaboration and cooperation, continuous learning. So, what would be if you can leave just one message to small tourism businesses or like new consultants or candidates to auditor? What will be your one message for them?
So for the small and medium enterprises, the one message will be start your journey now. Start now. Earlier, it was complicated, it was complex, you didn't understand, there was no help, I don't know what to do, but you don't have that excuse anymore because there is help available. So start your journey into sustainability now because sustainability makes business sense. It will result directly in business, commercial benefit for you. So I tell small and medium hotels, start your journey now. As far as consultants and certification bodies are concerned, I tell them that listen, earlier you complained that hotels are ignorant and they didn't know enough about sustainability. Oh, it is such a problem, working with them. Now it is not a problem anymore because there is help. There are tools available. The GSTC criteria is available. Hotel BFF is available. So now is the time for everybody to sort of grab the bull by its horn, so to speak, and for them also to start an accelerated journey towards sustainability and towards ensuring that their own commercial success also now goes to the next level, right? At the end of the day, everybody is in business and business has to do well, because when business does well, only then will lots of love flow. I always say love needs business also, right? So that is when, all this thing will flow through very, very well. So those are the few messages I'll leave behind.
Yeah. So thank you very much, Mr. Ramkumar, for sharing your insights, experience, and reflections from your side with us today. So for our participants, I believe this session will be very helpful for how to say demystifying the environmental management in tourism, and it will show a meaningful way for them, both for hoteliers and also for auditors and consultants as well. So on behalf of myself and Cappadocia University and all our partners, I would like to sincerely thank you for your time, generosity, and commitment to advancing sustainable tourism. We appreciate your contribution and hope to continue this dialogue in the future. Thank you very much, and thank you everyone who joined us today. Bye.
Thank you.